Let's look at the Big 12, though. So you got these new teams coming in. And I think obviously UCF is the one you're going to look to and say, okay, well, they're going to come in and probably give the most competitive frequencies across the board at first, just because of their success and what they do year in and year out. BYU's intriguing, obviously, because they have a track record. And I think that BYU has an advantage.
They've got the unique recruiting pitch.
Yeah, and you're going to be older and everything. But I think BYU has kind of an advantage over UCF in a sense from a scheduling standpoint, because week in and week out from them being an independent, they play a pretty daunting schedule. I'm not saying it's up there with Notre Dame's, but you know what I'm saying. It's pretty close. Whereas UCF, I know they do what they can do, trying to schedule people outside of the American, but there's only, and then plus with their track record of upsetting people, a lot of people don't want to play them. So I'm interested to see week in, week out, what they can do in the Big 12. And I know I'm saying the glorified American, and that's kind of me being just a smart ass, but I think it's going to be a challenge, and I'm interested to see how they can handle that challenge. But as far as right now, we're looking ahead to next season. Who do you think are some of the front runners? Is it TCU? If you had to go out on a limb, is it Texas because of all the talent they bring back? What are you looking at as far as the Big 12 next year?
I'm a little nervous about OU and Texas and what should probably be their final year, because OU look
damn good against
Florida State, who I believe will be a very good team, returning a lot of talent next year. OU and Texas are making me a little nervous, but TCU should absolutely be up there. I think the question really then comes after like, how much will TCU be able to come back at that level? Losing Duggan, I believe Quentin Johnson will be gone.
He's got it, yeah.
And Tomlinson, and they're losing their biggest names, but Dykes knows how to reload.
Chandler Morris you know who your quarterback's going to be. So
he won the battle in fall camp.
Yeah. So that's something you don't have to worry about.
But looking at the rest of the conference, though, I don't really expect Baylor to be challenging for the crown. Maybe they can push for an upper half finish, like 8 wins. Don't expect them to be challenging. Cincinnati, no. BYU, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I'm kind of just going down.
Going to be interesting.
Iowa State, no. Kansas will be interesting to see next year. Not like I think they can compete, but I think they can mess someone's day up.
Kansas is fun because they are
Leipold's
so
a good coach.
Chaotic. Yeah, and anytime you have a quarterback like Daniels, I mean he's so electrifying. He's the ideal college player in my mind.
We should probably start rounding off this segment. So Kansas State's definitely one to keep an eye on. I just love the climb and grind it out. Yeah. We are going to be competitive every year.
Howard.
And Will Howard is just going to be better next year. So if I had to say the champion's going to be one of these 4 teams, it's going to be the 2 that played this year, and it's going to be one of OU and Texas. Those are the 4 teams I'm watching as the front runners. And if I had to take one, I am probably going with, hate to say it, but OU again.
OU, all right. Give me a Texas Tech Big 12 title game with the Horns winning on their way out to the SEC.
Please don't give me that. Please don't give me that.
I am giving you that. Please. I am giving you that. I really like what Sark's doing. I think Texas really needs to get something going, carry some momentum into the SEC. Well, it would be a black eye for the Big 12. I like what Joey has going on out in Lubbock. I think that would be a lot of fun. Not unless you're a Big 12 fan. I think you're really going to hate that. But I like where Sark has them headed, and it's going to be interesting. But how many of these Big 12 teams are going to be ranked in the top 25? There's already some way too early top 25 polls out there. We're going to take a deep dive into that next.
And they are so wrong, and they are so right sometimes. So
tricky,
we're going to have some fun.
Tricky. That's next here on the College Chaos Podcast.